Hello. Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello. Hello. Hey Bhanu. Yeah man. Can you hear me? Okay. I think other people also can hear me. I'm. Can you just check once if the live feed can audio is coming or not? Okay, audio is coming. Okay. So I'm hoping everybody can hear us, but the video quality is low. I don't know how to increase that, man. How do you do that? Screen capture. Okay, that I think if you increase that YouTube video quality, I think then it'll be okay. Sure. So I'm really sorry for the. I mean, you guys have wasted like half an hour just because of us setting up things and all. There was from some problem we were somehow not able to stream to YouTube, but as you can see, it's not got fixed. I'm really sorry once again. And let's start today. Today we are going to discuss about Coderplex, the code base, which the Coderplex code base, and how do we handle other projects and pull requests in Coderplex basically. So um, so let's start. The first thing is everything what we do here is everything is open source, and it's really everything is available at github.com/coderplex. So I'm going to walk you through the front end part of the application, and I have Bhanu with me, and he'll going to be discuss the backend, the various technologies used in backend. So so head down to github.com/coderplex and /coderplex. This is the repo name. You guys can always shoot questions in the YouTube live chat. Okay, there seem to be a lot of background noise, it seems. Okay, this should be good. So this is the repository of the front end of the application. Technologies we are using is for server-side rendering. We are using Next.js. It's really good. React also already has its server-side rendering capabilities, but it can be sometimes tricky to set up all that. So Next.js does the job for us. It's a really good library. I think you can say it's a complete framework. It has inbuilt routing, and the way if you have paid React app, then you probably have to set up a router for example React router or React router component, then it's actually easy. React setting up any a router is easy, but with Next.js it becomes straightforward. So you just how you deal with putting a href and going to the other page, you do the same thing then in Next router. And also the good thing about server-side rendering is, I'll just go to one more thing is Next.js is opinionated. By opinionated I mean it wants the folder structure to be it defines its folder structure. So as if you have if in olden days you had index.html, then signup.html, it's almost the same. In Next.js you need to put those separate files, but not .html but .js. For example, I have this Coderplex /events, right? So I can to do that I just have to make a new file called events.js and put that in the pages folder, and I will have the route for myself. For example, and if I go to events, so whole of this thing is under this particular page, events.js. So it's really easy to get started with Next.js. There's a really cool they have made a really cool website also. It's called Learn Next.js. So I think in a weekend, if you sit with Next.js, I think in a weekend you will come out doing Next.js. So that was about Next. And also we are using many third-party libraries, as you expect if you are using React. So let me go through the main folder structure quickly. So once you fork the repository and once you open that in your editor, you will see a list of folders starting with test. So test is something it is right now, I mean, in usually the React components we have the test folder alongside the component, but here we have because we are following this page format, so we have this additional folder called test on the top, and there we are, for any individual components we are going to put etc. example.test.js. So we are using Jest for testing and Enzyme for rendering. Right now not much testing have been set up, but we have a testing suite ready. We just have to add test. We are waiting if until the app becomes a little bit stable to do the testing and all. And next important folder is pages, which I have just told you about. So pages contains individual routes of your website. For example, if you have login.js, then you will probably have a new file called login.js. So if you have Coderplex / about us, then you will have about us.js. And if you see one more thing, next is I mean, you can write all your React code in here, all your lifecycle methods and additional stuff. So this was about the pages directory. And if suppose you want nested pages, for example, you have about us, and again you have one more route called / Coderplex, something like that. So at that time you have to have your own folder in that learn, and then you make index.js there and subject. So this becomes your nested route. So to controlling this is again really easy. There is something called server.js. You have Next.js allows to make. So this we are using in development basically. So you assign if you want additional URL parameters over here. Let me go back and see. Okay, why both React and Preact? So yeah, we were using Preact in production basically. So what we are doing is you are writing React in development, and because it has all those hot loading features and all, which Preact does not have. So we are not using Preact in development, but because of its low bundle, very small bundle size, not only us, many companies, many Indian companies like Uber, Zomato, they use Preact for mobile, for websites, basically for developer websites. So again, I think there's a library called Preact Compat, where you can easily put, you just have to alias your webpack bundler, and the output will be in Preact. So due to this, we had a small problem issue right now. We are not able to use Preact in development production because our CSS in JS library was not able to support that. We have opened a bug basically in Next.js, but let's see if it gets issued, then we'll go back to using Preact in production. Yeah, I think Vinay just answered the question. Okay. So next config is where you put your paths, basically like /learn / everything. So all these things are really easy if you just sit with the next documentation for a day or two. Okay. So we store our main global components, basically. Any components, we store them in a folder called components. So if it is a common, then we store them in a common folder, and if it is specific to that particular page, we make a new folder and put it over there. So that way we don't lose the track of where our components are. And yeah, let's talk about the library which we are using for CSS. Initially we started out with semantic UI CSS framework, but then we quickly realized that it's bloating us too much. I mean, it's good for getting started and all, but we felt it we need to have more control over the styling. And also what we were doing in the other day was we were customizing a lot of semantic UI in our app, so it didn't make any sense. So we thought, let's go ahead with our own CSS framework. So we have started that just now. We have a designer, Abhijit, working on it every day. So we are putting that any static files and all, we're putting that in utils. So this is right now just a bare starting of our CSS. So as you can see, we are using CSS in JS library. There were alternatives, but Vinay and I decided to use Emotion CSS. It's a newer CSS in JS library, but the relative size and all is pretty low than compared to other libraries out there. More famously is Glamorous and Style Components. So because of its size, we went ahead with Emotion CSS. I think that also fits here. So this is the they call it next generation CSS in JS library. So a good thing about this any CSS in JS library, that you don't write, you don't have to worry about compatibility with other browsers and all. Emotion, that particular library take care of that. So you don't have to again write WebKit something for that for the same styling. You write WebKit, then you write the theme for Safari. So you don't need to do that. You just put write just normal CSS, and that's it. When it's compiled, it will be converted into all the browsers compatible form. And one more good thing, that we can pass in props. We can pass in functions inside our CSS library. So as you can see, we have this button here. So for example, let's look at this button. So we are calling this button as a React component. So we are saying that if it's a button, and if the user want is to be a fluid button, then obviously he will pass the props as fluid. So here we're checking that. For example, here we're checking that and putting the width, if it's 100% or if it's auto, something like that. So it gives us lots of flexibility to use declarative style components with CSS. So our base style is mainly inside the folder of utils. If that's called base.style.js, and let's go back to the starting. I mean, you might see that in normal React applications, you always have this index.html in your public folder, right? So let me see. Here we don't have. So how do we do that? So the way we are doing that is we are injecting the metadata. I mean, the metadata means the head tags in the HTML over here. So basically this is your head, the HTML head that will go and compile down to the HTML file. So if you build this, basically it will create different pages for your, for example, if events, you get an events page, not like React. When you compile onto React, you just get one bundler and one HTML, and that's it. The magic happens in those files, but here we get proper HTML files, which is useful if you want to if you are actually looking forward for SEO friendly. So this is the head tag which I was talking about. This is how it go. So if you need to put any library in your head tag, then this is where it goes. And yeah, let's see one page in detail, so that we can conclude this from the front end side. So let's go and look at I don't know, events maybe. So along with CSS along with Emotion CSS, we are also the other third parties plugins, as you can see in any style components, any CSS and JS library. So one of them are Grid Emotion for emotions, and Style System if you have this space and all. So basically all these libraries give us a declarative way to write CSS. So that's all they do. So if you see the render method of it, because that's what first I see. So render method, I have so I can say a layout. So this layout I have already defined in my base style. So what is the layout contain is, okay, did I did it or not defined? Subject events. So the layout is here. So it is there. I have defined it in it's a component again. So I have defined that in components/common con layout. So it must be here. So basically what I'm trying to do here is I've separated my page and into three, that is header, children, I mean whatever that you pass it down, and footer. So anything that you pass down in the layout as children will go into this particular thing. So you get a lot of code reusability over here, because footer and header mostly changes with respect to the page, and I can control that. So so again I have this banner section. Banner section is what you see. Okay. What you see is this, and so again I have made that into component because I use that many times in my application. So and the format of the banner section is almost the same, just the title and subtitle sometimes changes. So I've made it a new component and I've placed it somewhere here, I guess. Yeah, banner.js. So I've placed it somewhere here and just passing the props and rendering those things. Now, as you can see, this might be a little bit different for you. This is this is coming from a plugin for emotion CSS that is called Style System. What it allows to do is, if you import a space in your main div, so you can use this props. For example, this prop states that the padding in my y direction has to be 2, in my lower usually it's 4, but this is an array of 4, but if it is only 2, that means for any device less than from tablet to less than tablet, I need to use 2 units of my padding in my y direction. And if the next parameter is 3, that means any laptop screens or big monitor screens, they need to use 3 in my padding in my y direction. So this way I don't have to write a lot of CSS to do this. I can just declaratively say that I just need this without even writing any media query or anything. So so yeah, that was about that. Again, I've used that in here also, in event section I've used that, and also I can also there are 2 ways. You can write flexbox in CSS, or you can declaratively write flex with a plugin over here called grid emotion. So basically, again, that handles all the use cases. So you need not write CSS. Actually, you can just say I need a flex, and direction I want it to be column, alignment has to be center, justify, etc. And just keep saying. For example, here I'm saying in my I need to have 2 elements in that, and if it is a box, then I need to put it full width for the small screens and only 0.745 for the large screens. So let's code here. So let me go back to this. Why enzyme for testing? Why not Jasmine? Another. A lot of people say this only with React. Can I use this with any other app which are not built on React? Okay. I have not used Jasmine, so I don't know a lot about that. But Enzyme, why? Because it's a really good library from Airbnb, and they not only support React, they support a lot of other libraries out there. And the good thing about, you can always use React test utils. Even so, main aim for us to use Enzyme was to render the DOM. Okay, so if I want to test a button, for example, let's say I want to test a group of buttons, and if I use a button, if I use Enzyme, I can always get a serialized JSON out of that and check which are the states going in that button or not, and what is the state that is coming out of it. So this is also available in React, but if you go to the React documentation, even they suggest to use it. They just to use Enzyme. So that was a call for use Enzyme for this. How is React different from Angular in terms of growth, development, and growth? React, we use React because it's not because it was cool, but it allows us to it basically allows us to have best practices in UI development. You can consider the whole UI as a component, then start making each individual components, and yeah, there are many factors suggest to use React basically, and React teaches you JavaScript, and also React is just a library, so you are free to use any other third-party library to integrate that with your application. I think that's the flexibility that React gives us is far more far more bigger than any other frameworks or libraries out there. So that was the reason we selected React. Okay, so let's talk about how we are deploying this. So just pointer. So whenever we make an issue, we usually say that we usually pinpoint the issue to specific problem statement. We try not to keep the issue very broad, so that you don't do a lot of you don't work around the code a lot. So we usually keep our issues very pinpointed. So as in, if we say that we are not if the issue is something like we're not getting image in event section, so you know where to go. So probably you first you'll say okay, the page mentioned was events, so let's go. Your starting point has to be event.js in the pages folder. So from there you can always go along if you need a new component, or if you want to import a component, any other component from components folder. So this, just wanted to clarify this. Okay. So the way we are deploying this, the way our I'll tell you about the way our PR the way our PR system works. I think we have set up put up a really good contributing markdown file. So if you actually go through them, it'll be really straightforward for you to contribute to Coderplex. And one good pointer is there, that if you are really stuck in an issue and you really want to ask questions regarding that, it's really a good idea to send a PR and just mention that is a work in progress, that we don't take a complete thorough look. So then over there, then you can post your questions. So that way we also see what the code you have written, instead of writing the code in the comment section. I think seeing the code in the PR is much better. We are always active on GitHub. So issue or pull request you send usually get replies in minutes by any of our team. So and yeah, I was talking about the deployment part. So whenever you send a pull request, or anyone send a pull request, we have set up auto deployment here. So if you are changing some code, then you can easily, okay, I cannot see, okay, yeah, so you can see what changes you have made with the deploy. This is just because we want it to be instead of we going and forking your basically cloning your contributed code and starting the server again. This is really easy to, not for us only, for any contributor to see what you have done in the code. So you will get this, and also if it is still in work in progress and you start pushing to the same branch of yours, and this will keep getting updated. So every time you push, we get the new build in the same URL. And the way we are doing it right now is we have two branches basically. One is develop and one is master. So master is our most stable branch. So we usually deploy master into production when it is really stable, and it's usually that happens in release dates. So but the develop branch you can access with dev.coderplex.org, and the master is at coderplex.org without the subdomain. So you send the PR to develop, because develop is where we are working, and so once everything is finalized and we hit the main points, we check off main points in that particular release date, then we start merging develop into master. Yeah, and we really appreciate contributors. So to appreciate the work you guys do, we have also set up all contributing guide in almost all our repository. So basically it recognizes you that you have contributed something to our repo. So whatever it is, even if it is a comment or even if it is a review, we put it there. So this all the emojis that signifies that that particular person have contributed to documentation, and no contribution is small. We believe everything has its own value. Okay, I think that's it. We are into our live stream discussion right now. So do you have you guys have any other questions? Then you can I'll be taking for more 5 minutes now. If you have a lot of other questions, you can always post to the Discord group. Let me see. I'll just contact Bhanu. I'll just put Bhanu for he will be explaining the backend, which is mostly written in Django. It is a Python web framework. Let me ask him if he can join. Okay. Hello?
Hello?
Hey Bhanu. Yeah man, I can hear you. Yeah. So are you ready with your I don't know how you want to share your screen, but I think if you share on Hangout, then I can live cast that. So let me just first ask if people here can listen you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm asking that in the group. How long will it take to learn React before you start building React? It depends how good you are with JavaScript. If you're really good with JavaScript, it shouldn't take much time. Okay, Bhanu, can you increase your audio? Let me see if I need to add that.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, I think let's ask them. Yeah, we can listen, he's saying, but I don't know. Let me ask Kapil quickly. Yeah, Bhanu ki, he is able to, you guys able to hear? So I don't need to do anything. Okay. Yeah, hello. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Bhanu, it seems that your voice is too low. Okay, can you increase the volume and probably can try.
So what about now?
अभी कैसा?
Is it good now?
Stream is like at least 10 seconds each.
अच्छा. Hang on, Bhanu.
What?
Just hang on. No?
Okay.
Try if Hangouts doesn't work, try Discord and see.
Right, Discord will not happen. Discord will not happen. Okay, close this here that we can.
It is slightly bigger, like
Okay.
it's still not really audible.
Okay. Chalo. ठीक. Yeah, Bhanu, you can continue. They are able to hear you slightly.
Okay, shall I start now?
Yeah, you can start. You can see my screen, no, on YouTube. You can see your screen, no, on YouTube.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. So, guys, we have Bhanu. He's contributing to our backend. He's a student in IIIT Hyderabad, and he also he's a really good developer in Laravel, and I think you are doing research in AI. Is it, Bhanu? Hello.
I'm based tech.
Yeah. So, can you tell a little bit about yourself to the audience?
I'm studying in Tribulite Hyderabad, brand. So and I'm in my third year.
Okay. And you are really good with Python.
Good with Python, but not that strong.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and we have working knowledge of Django.
Okay. That's good. So, yeah, continue, Bhanu.
So this is the GitHub repo of Coderplex backend. This is github.com/Coderplex backend. So
Yeah, you can continue. You can continue. Yeah.
oh, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
So I downloaded that branch, and so we are using Django for our backend. In Django, we can divide every set of features into individual apps. So here we have mainly three apps. So one is books, other is authentication, and other is member. And so Django is a MVC framework. So MVC framework it is just it will have models, views, and controllers. So in every individual app, we'll have models and views. So for example, we'll start with the member. So in member, you can see the file structure. There are about 7 files. So in models.py, we'll define all the database models. We are defining the table and the fields fields of the table in this Python file. So in member folder we have two models. I think only one model. It is user profile model. There is an existing user model inbuilt in Django. So we are just extending that user model to add extra fields which we want. So in user profile, so we have a user which is one-to-one field to user table, and we have some other fields which we want to use. And same is for books.py. We have three models: book, chapter, and page. So book is nothing but it is some. So as you know that we'll have learn guides. So this book represents that guide. So and every book has some chapters, and every chapter we have some pages. So these are the names that are given for learn guide. only these models are present till now. So one is user profile, other is book, other is chapter, other is course. So and so there is not much progress in backend. We'll show the URLs also.
So you are making use of this virtual environment, right? So can you tell me more about it? Why are we using that, and why are we not using without the virtual environment?
So just like in JavaScript, we have a requirements file in every Python application. So here we will define all the requirements, means all the Python packages which we will use for this Django application.
Mm-hmm.
So when we create a virtual environment, so we can directly install all the packages in that virtual environment.
Okay.
So there is no need to change anything in our computer.
Mm-hmm.
These packages will be installed in this VNV folder.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
For testing the APIs, we have included something called Swagger API. One minute, I will show you.
And this is irrespective of any framework, I mean, right? Swagger.
Yeah, but for Django there is separate Swagger.
Acha.
I don't remember the URL.
Okay. So it is like, so is it like a library, or how it is?
Yeah, it is like package.
Okay.
So this Django REST package.
Okay. So it makes creating APIs really easy, right?
So whatever APIs we define in the application, it
Mm-hmm.
will show here.
Okay.
It will show here.
Okay, that's okay. So this authentication which you just did, that is from Swagger, or that is from the Django?
No, that is yeah, that is from Swagger.
Okay.
So these are all the APIs that are present in the website right now.
Okay. Okay. It also gives what are the methods.
What?
It also gives what methods are available for that.
Yeah, it will show everything here only.
Okay.
So for example, so we have for example we have member.urls included here.
Mm-hmm.
So member.urls, it is just like URLs that are present in member app or member application. So all URLs present in this will be shown in this Swagger.
Okay.
So you can see that here. So there is a user URL which is present here. So these are all the APIs that are present.
Got it.
/user, /user.
Got it.
Get /user /.
Okay. Bhanu, can you also talk about the database which we are using?
Yeah. So using SQLite for local environment and Postgres for production environment. But we are thinking to use Postgres in Java.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
What is that sound?
Which sound? Okay. Anything else you want to explain, Bhanu?
I think there is some noise from your side.
Okay, is it? I'll just, I don't know, mute from here.
So now so we are in our website. There is no manual sign up process. So we'll directly sign up through GitHub or LinkedIn. So all developers will log in through GitHub. All recruiters or people who are will log in through LinkedIn. For making this, we are using package called Django all auth. So this is the package, and its URL is Django all auth.readdocs.io. So we are using this package for making this authentication. So how the flow works in authentication. To use GitHub API to get code, GitHub code. GitHub code we'll get it from Frontend. So we need not worry about this part in backend. Code from frontend. So and we'll use that code here. V1 post method in V1 auth GitHub. So the Swagger will tell what method is this URL about, and what should be the parameters which we should send in data. So here it is giving that access token or code. So we should send any one of these. So here, so when I send this code to v1/auth/GitHub, so what it does is, I will show you the code. So we will get the user signed up signal. So this signal, this is from the package Django all auth. So once we get this user signed up signal, so here what it is saying is when this is received, so in this method, so we are just adding the user to our database. So now the user which has this code is added to the database. And we can see the user from these APIs, get/user. Post/user is used to update any fields. So for example, I'll update email. email is updated. So these are just the APIs we wrote. So for the user, these are the APIs. There is an user, and this user accepts both get method and post method. So you can see that in views slash user detail as well. So here you can see that there are two methods for user. One is get, other is post. So get method, it is just in Django we will use serializers to serialize the data, so that Django will understand that. And we define all serializers in file. So you can read the Django documentation to see how to write serializers. So there are some serializers here. For example, this user short serializer. So it will just this is a model serializer, and what this is actually saying is use user as model and display these fields. So as we saw here, this user is using user detail view, and if there are two methods, get method and post method. Get method is displaying the user using user detail serializer, and user detail serializer is so this is just showing username, first name, last name, and email. And in post method, so I am using user edit serializer.
Uh,
I think my computer got stuck.
yeah, I think you have few questions. The one question is, while installing dependencies in JavaScript, we use save dev. Is this the same as in virtual environment in Python?
Yeah, in Python we use pip for installing dependencies.
Mm-hmm.
So we use same like pip install requirements.txt, something like that.
Okay, and does all the packages go into dependency, or do we separate them in dev dependency, and in JavaScript we usually have dev dependency and we have dependency. Yeah.
But yeah, in Python I don't think there are different dependencies for development and other things.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't think this is saved as
Acha. So why Django? Can you explain us how Django is better than Ruby on Rails or Node.js?
I'm not familiar, since I'm not a Django developer. So, but the main reason why we are using Django is because there will be more contributors in our community who can contribute to the backend. So I think that's why Kapil went with this Django framework.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell? Banu?
There is nothing.
Okay.
So this, so everything, these are just syntax, and right now the application is very minimal. So there is nothing we did. We just defined some 3 or 4 models, and we wrote serializers for those models and views for those models.
Mm-hmm.
And the only big part we did is creating profiles.
Mm-hmm.
And we created profiles using Django All.
Mm-hmm.
That is very flexible and simple library.
Okay.
So all we need to do is we have to write this much. That's it. So everything will be taken care of.
Okay, understood. Okay, and yeah, and as as we have mentioned before, you're always available on GitHub and on Discord. So if you have any questions, reach us out there, or post an issue if you have any. You're not able to understand the code base and you want to contribute. You can also open a new issue, and we'll always be there to comment and help you navigate the code base. Thank you so much, Bhanu. Um, and thank you so much everyone else for joining us. I know you guys have waited a lot for this stream. I mean, we almost wasted an half an hour for you guys, but I really take that. I really appreciate that you guys still staying back and listening to this podcast. So thank you once again, and we'll be doing this live sessions more in the upcoming future, so you guys can join us there. Thank you so much, and good night.